I'm Suzanne Ross from the Raven Foundation, and I'd like to talk to you today about the passive voice. Throughout my education as a writer, I have been taught to disdain the passive voice. It has been redlined out of my life by well-meaning teachers and editors who wanted to help me develop a dynamic and energetic writing style. Think of the difference between "I kicked the can," which I was taught is an active and forceful sentence, and "the can was kicked by me," which is not nearly as powerful. Apparently, George Orwell objected to the passive voice because it made it too easy to avoid taking responsibility for one's actions, as in, mistakes were made. Hence, his insistence on the active voice to force the doer to take responsibility, at least grammatically, for what he has done. But the easiest way to avoid taking responsibility is to be blind to the consequences of your action. I mean, if you've committed no wrong, what is there to be responsible for? So I recently heard the writer Jeff Nunberg making the case for the passive voice on just those grounds. He pointed out that the passive directs our attention away from the actor to the one who is enduring the action. Instead of focusing on my incredible can-kicking skills, for example, the passive would direct my attention to the dented and bruised can. The passive shifts the emphasis from the kicker to the kicked, from the abuser to the abused, from the victimizer to the victims, forcing us to become conscious of their suffering. The style police who insisted that I avoid the passive voice were engaging, however unconsciously, in a persistent effort to glorify the subject of every sentence, the powerful and good I, who is performing the action. Those who are acted upon, the dented and bruised objects of the unassailable I, are in effect hidden from view by a style choice. Now, this resonated with our work at the Raven Foundation, where we draw attention to the suffering of scapegoats in an attempt to hold people responsible for their own violence. Scapegoating works because the perpetrators have become blind and deaf to the suffering of their victims. Notice the way these active constructions dismiss the loser's side of the story. We won the war, and he defeated his enemy. Hiding behind the active voice, the winners focus only on their own goodness and the justification for their actions. Oddly, the passive voice, as in "they were bombed" or "he was crucified," brings the victim out of hiding, and the unspoken "by me" hovers like an accusation in the space after the period. The passive, by giving voice to the long silenced objects, holds perpetrators accountable in a way that the active never could. Objects are transformed into subjects who suffer, and their passion, at last seen and heard, acts upon our hearts. Thank you.